This is part 2 of Harry Wills' lack of opportunity for heavyweight championship honors between 1924 and 1926. You see, Harry Wills still had an amazing ability to draw over 300 in a crowd in his last event, who mourned his passing in Harlem, New York, December 21st, 1958. And Harry Wills was given the name the Black and Brown Panther. He was born May 15, 1892, in New Orleans, Louisiana. He died December 12, 1958, in Harlem, New York, at the age of 69, some say 66. He was an orthodox boxer who stood 6 foot 2 inches and was a heavyweight. He had an 84-inch reach, total bouts of 87 fights, 70 wins, 56 knockouts, 9 losses, and he was stopped 5 times. Now, he had a manager by the name of Patty Mullins. Patty Mullins tried many times to work out arrangements with Jack Dempsey and his manager, Jack Kearns. And they would claim that Tex Rickard, who was the promoter at that time, would refuse to promote the fight in fear of having chaos and riots. You see, back in 1910, Jack Johnson would knock out the Boilermaker Jim Jeffries. After he would retire and come back from his alfalfa farm, he would lose 100 pounds. And Jack Johnson was defeating all the white fighters, and they needed a white hope. And they said that, Jim, you're our last hope. Please come back and remove the title away from Jack Johnson. And when he tried, he was knocked out in 15 rounds. Jim Corbett would come in and save Jim Jeffries. And once that happened, in 1910, Reno, Nevada, little black boys was beaten half to death, and it was hanging and lynching and riots all over the United States, and Tex Rickard didn't want to have anything to do with that. So that was the excuse that was given by Jack Dempsey. So after Jack Dempsey's defeat of Jess Willard in 1919, he drew the color line. Now, Harry Wills became a crowd favorite and was voted 131,073 votes by the public over the St. Paul's heavyweight Tommy Gibbons by 500 newspapers. Tommy Gibbons was denied by 6,000 votes. Harry Wills won by a landslide, but Jack Dempsey would choose Tommy Gibbons and what would become the most boring 15-round fights in boxing history. This fight took place in Shelby, Montana, and after that fight, Shelby, Montana would go bankrupt. Wills and manager received a telegram that Tex Rickard would promote their agreed fight on May 1st, 1924 at New Jersey's Boyles Acres in Jersey City, New Jersey. September 6, 1924. Now the games would begin July 5th, when Rickard makes a press announcement that Jack Dempsey would not fight on that date. The New York State Commission would see the ducking game and excuses begin to play out. And they would order Jack Dempsey to sign an agreement in writing and have it back to them within 24 hours. March 6, 1925. And Jack Dempsey would not only not send a letter, he would not respond. And Dempsey was barred from fighting in New York for the rest of his career. Now, Dempsey would claim in a statement in 1953 to Ebony Magazine, like I stated earlier, he wanted to face Harry Wills, but no one would promote it. That was Jack Dempsey's excuse. And Jack Dempsey would also claim that he tried to set up a fight with Harry Wills September 25th at Benton Harbor, that's located in Michigan, for the September 1926 fight, with a promoter by the name of Floyd Fitzsimmons. Harry Wills received $50,000 as a guarantee for signing the contract. Dempsey had received $125,000. But he stated in 1950, Ebony Magazine, that the money was never wired to him. That was excuse number 2. And Dempsey came out of retirement to face Gene Tunney. He needed the money. And what he did, he timed it so that Harry Wills would be disqualified in the fight with Jack Sharkey. And Harry Wills would lose his colored heavyweight championship belt. And Jack Dempsey would come out of retirement. And he would face Gene Tunney. Because the clause in the contract was that Harry Wills had to keep winning. And that's the reason why he would have Harry Wills face a fighter by the name of Louis Angel Firpo. He would have Harry Wills face many fighters that he faced, and Wills would defeat him. And when he ran out of excuses, that was the perfect opportunity to come out of retirement. He faced Gene Tunney, Philadelphia, and he would lose in 10 rounds. And to come back in 1927, and he would lose again. And Harry Wills would be stuck facing Sam Langford 18 times. May 1st, 1914, New Orleans, 10-round draw. November 26, 1914, Vernon, California, he was stopped 14 times. December 13, 1915, New York, no decision in 10 rounds. January 3rd, 1916, New Orleans, 20 rounds, he would win. February 11th, 1916, New Orleans, he was stopped 19 times. In the 19th round. March 7th, 1916, Brooklyn, New York, no decision in 10 rounds. April 25th, 1916, St. Louis, Missouri, who defeated him in 8 rounds. May 11th, 1917, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, no decision in 6 rounds. September 20th, 1917, Brooklyn, New York, no decision in 10 rounds. November 12th, 1917, Toledo, Ohio, no decision in 12 rounds. 1918, April 14th, Panama City, he would knock him out in 6 rounds. And May 19th, Atlantic City, knock him out in 7th round. Just a few examples of the body of work that Harry Wills would put in. And he would be well-deserved of a shot at the title, but never get one. Now, Sam Langford was known as the Boston Bone Crusher. They also called him the Boston Tar Baby. He was born March 4th, 1883 in Weymouth, Nova Scotia. He resided in Boston, Massachusetts. And he died January 12th, 1956 with the age of 72. He was managed by Joe Woodson. He was a heavyweight that stood 5'7" and he had a 74-inch reach. He had total bouts of 252 fights, 178 wins, 126 knockouts, 29 losses, 8 by knockout, 38 draws, and over 200 no-decision fights. You see, Sam Langford had well over 500 fights. And he became very angry and very tough-minded as a young man when he was abused by his biological father, back in Nova Scotia. And this is what led for him to go to Boston. And Sam Langford began sparring at the Lennox Athletic Club Gymnasium after becoming a cleanup man in the gym. And at the age of 15 years old, he became an amateur featherweight champion in Boston. And Sam Langford fought lightweight champion Joe Gans in 1903. And unfortunately for Sam Langford, he was lied to. It was supposed to be a title fight, and he was told he didn't have to make weight. This was a last-minute call. And when he came in, there was a scale. And they were wondering why there was a scale, and he was told that he had to make weight, that they had to weigh in for the fight. And they couldn't believe how they were lied to. So he went on with the fight anyway. He defeated Joe Gans, but it became a non-title fight. 1904, he faced welterweight champion, Barbados Demon, Joe Walcott, wound up becoming a draw. 1906, Sam Langford would face colored heavyweight champion at that time, Jack Johnson. For the colored heavyweight championship belt, he would come up short. See, Jack Johnson weighed 185 pounds and Sam Langford was 156. On December 18, 1923, Sam Langford defeats Sonny Goodrich at the Community House in San Antonio, Texas, and he would win a Mexican heavyweight championship. April 22nd, 1907, he defeats Tiger Smith for the British middleweight championship in Commonwealth. It was the National Sporting Club. May 24th, 1909, he defeats Ian Williams at the National Sporting Club at the Covent Garden, the British heavyweight championship belt. On December 26, 1913, he would face Sam Langford would defeat Sam McVeigh for the Australian Heavyweight Championship belt in Sydney, Australia. But in his career, he would fight fighters such as Bob Stonewall Allen, Joe Gans, Dave Harley, Larry Temple, young Peter Jackson, Jack Johnson, Fireman Jim Flynn, Andre Anderson, Frank Craig, the Harlem Coffee Cooler, the Black Pearl, Morris Harris, Dixie Kid and Johnny Kilbane, Frank Clark, and he would also face Jeff Clark and Harry Greb and Dan Porky Flynn, Sam McVeigh, Philadelphia Jack O'Brien, Bob Armstrong, Bowling Jim Johnson, Roughhouse Ware and Harry Wells and Jack Thompson and Clem Hawkins and Stanley Ketchel, Big Tate, Big Bill Tate, George Godfrey, Andy Watson, Blackfoot Simmons and Jack Blackburn, James Tut Jackson, Bearcat Wright, just to name a few. Phenomenal fighter with Sam Langford. You would have great fighters such as Elmer Violent Ray, Black Murderers Row, never got an opportunity to fight at the title. Archie Moore would get his shot in 1952 when he would defeat Joey Maxim and become the oldest light heavyweight champion at that time. He had a fighter by the name of John Henry Lewis. He would become light heavyweight champion in 1935 when he defeated Bob Olin. Harry Wells, a ring great, phenomenal fighter he was. Joe Louis would become heavyweight champion in 1937 and become the second black heavyweight champion of all times. Joe Jeanette would never get his shot, but he'd be in the ring with Jack Johnson, among others. Sam Langford never get a shot, but he would become the colored middleweight and the colored heavyweight champion. The Mexican, European, and Australian champion of all times. Ezra Charles would become heavyweight champion in 1949. He was solidified in 1950. He would lose his crown to Jersey Joe Walcott in 1951. Jackie Wilson, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, would have opportunities. He was a dynamic fighter. Once again, Harry Wells was never given that shot. Sugar Ray Robinson was a one-time welterweight, five-time middleweight champion. Jersey Joe Walcott became heavyweight champion in 1951 when he would knock out Ezra Charles. Harold Dad also became champion. These men would get their opportunities. Harold Johnson would become light heavyweight champion. Floyd Patterson would get a shot in 1956 when he would defeat Archie Moore for the vacant heavyweight championship belt left by Rocky Marciano. Kid Gavilan would also get a shot. And he would shoot, and he would lose his title, opportunity, in Philadelphia with Ray Robinson, but he would become welterweight champion of the world. Black Murderers Row, Jimmy Bivens would never get a shot. Isaac Logart, Bob Montgomery would become a two-time lightweight champion out of Philadelphia. Bojack from Augusta, Georgia, he was a two-time lightweight champion. Ike Williams from Trenton, New Jersey, was also a lightweight champion. He would get an opportunity. But Gil Turner was from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He would get an opportunity against the welterweight champion, Kid Gavilan. Come up short, but he was some fighter. Randy Turpin would get an opportunity in 1951 when he would defeat the great Sugar Ray Robinson. He would lose his middleweight championship belt when he would come over to the Polo Grounds in 1951, and he'd be knocked out by the great Sugar Ray Robinson. Jackie Wilson didn't quite get a shot, but he fought some of the top contenders of his day. And Chalky Wright would defeat a fighter by the name of Joey Archibald, and he would lose his crown to Willie Pep. We'd have great fights such as Sandy Sadler, who would defeat Willie Pep. Johnny Saxton, become welterweight champion, who would face Tony DeMarco and Carmen Basilio. We'd also have a hard puncher by the name of Ernie Shavers, had his shots with Larry Holmes and Muhammad Ali. Another group of great fighters, Jack McVeigh, would become the colored middleweight champion, and he would lose his title to the great Harry Smith. Johnny Bratton out of Chicago would also get an opportunity for the welterweight championship of the world. And you would have Booker Beckworth, a heavyweight, didn't quite get a shot at the title. Bruce Flowers, lightweight out of Yonkers, New York. Chick Shuggs, George Godfrey. Godfrey became the colored heavyweight champion. Panama